If you're an ambitious, competent, intelligent man and you find yourself getting stuck, plateaued, your income is stuck, your relationships are stuck, just you're stuck. Everything in your life is stuck, stagnant, not moving. And there's this sudden urgency and pressure always on you. You feel like you always have to have it on. The burden of an ambitious man. And anytime you declare something, anytime you want to keep your word, you suddenly know in the back of your head that you're not going to keep your word. The truth is, you've identified yourself as a man who betrays himself. You see, you'll say things like, I'm afraid of commitment. I'm not sure if I really want to commit. I know the work needs to be done, but I'm avoiding it. And there's always something deeper to what you're saying. You're not vague. You're not surface level. You're deep. Everything's coded, because you're intelligent. You'll put off work, the needle mover work, knowing what needs to get done. And the truth of the matter is, you're procrastinating. You're afraid. You're too aware to not know what you're avoiding. And you find yourself in the same cycle of I just need to lock in, and I just need to, but you constantly live the same cycle of start and stop over again and again and again. And you look at these self-improvement videos to see if they'll give you a new perspective, a new mindset, a new trick. And you already know there's no new tricks. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. On an identity level, you identify as a man who betrays himself. You doubt your word. You hesitate to commit. You hesitate to declare things. You hesitate to keep promises to yourself. Maybe you've had a lot of power before in your life and you collapsed and you started identifying yourself as someone who's a failure, who sabotages, who can't handle success. And now you're stuck rebuilding, or maybe you're at the beginning of the journey, barely starting self-improvement, but every time you try, you fuck it up. The pressure of being great weighs on you. And instead of allowing these things to be what they are, self-improvement tools to help you become a better man, you attach so much meaning to it. You attach so much meaning to having a physique, six-pack abs, having a baddie woman, having a business that gives you freedom and income unimaginable. And you find yourself looking at more content, consuming more. And you know deep down inside that you don't need more. This is the hell of an ambitious man. You are in mental purgatory. And I'll tell you, you live in this cycle of shame. You fall off your discipline. Oh, see, you fucking never keep your word. You're always fucking it up. You tell other people like, yeah, man, I just need to lock in. Like, I'm always inconsistent. I'm always, and you see the word always. I'm always inconsistent, or I'm always this. That's your story right there. That's who you are. That's when you speak out loud and you say, I'm always inconsistent, or I'm someone who always runs into negative people. That is your identity right there. So I pose the question to you: who are you? You see, I used to identify as a man who betrayed himself because I didn't understand that the pressure of being a business owner, of being competent, ambitious, finally caught up to me. And what I mean by this is that I put all my stock in being a business owner, being an entrepreneur. I was 19, 20, running a detailing business. I had finally proven to my family that I'm that fucking dude. I had the woman, I had the freedom, the sovereignty at fucking 19, 20 years old. And when I couldn't handle the pressure and humble myself to ask others for help, to go get a job when I realized the business wasn't working, I started to lie to myself. I started to tell myself, this is the only way to do it. This is the only way to do it. Like, and I noticed this with a lot of entrepreneurs. We believe that the business that we're making now is the only way to gain the lifestyle that we want. So we put this unnecessary pressure on ourselves, you know, not realizing that what we do compared to the average man is very spectacular, very tremendous, and that we actually have the courage to go after what we want in this life. And me and you alike, we know that people around us will tell us, you're just trying too hard. You need to let it come to you. And you see, for a long time, I didn't understand this. Like, how the fuck am I gonna let shit just come to me? Like, I'm the type of man where shit doesn't come to me. I have to go get it. And to be honest, I like it that way because then I get to choose what the fuck I get. It gives me that sense of control, knowing that the Most High has control of everything, right? But deep down, after my business failed, I started becoming disciplined again. But while I was in a relationship with my ex, I knew that I had betrayed myself. And I had lost who I was after we broke up. I was already deteriorating during the relationship, but I lost who I was. And I became the man who betrays himself. I would tell myself things like, I can't trust myself with women. I can't trust that I won't get in another relationship, I won't fail. I can't trust that if I start building a business, I won't betray the Most High. I won't betray myself for power and for glory and for betray who I am. I couldn't trust that I could stay disciplined and consistent with the gym. And for 2 years, really a year and a half, so maybe like June of last year when I started this channel, this same script ran in my head every day. You're not a man that keeps your word. You're lazy. You're inconsistent. And my thoughts would mirror my reality. As he thinketh, so he is. Whatever you think you are, that is true. And when I would feed myself this verbiage, this negative talk, I was reinforcing my identity. I was reinforcing who I am. And this affected everything in my life. For me, like, I was afraid for a long time to start building up a business again. For 2024 is when I broke up with my ex, and I say that as a pivotal point because that was the moment that I lost who I was, or it had been revealed to me that I was lost. That moment right there was so pivotal because I began to rebuild myself back up. But I would tell myself, I can't trust myself in a relationship again. I can't trust myself with women. I can't trust that I won't become this type of man who betrays himself. That I'm inconsistent. Then I'd find myself sabotaging my gym progress, not eating good food consistently, being lazy, despite having energy, despite only working part time, 30 hours a week, and I couldn't find time to work out and shit like that. I would be consistent for 3-4 days and then in the weekend binge. So I would fuck up my progress like that. And for a long time, it was just this cycle. And I couldn't handle not being able to do more because I knew I could do more, but the pressure, man, the timeline expectations. Oh, I need to have abs in 3 months. Bro, being 230, bro. Being 230 pounds. Oh, fuck, I need to get the business back on track and fucking not realizing that it was already gone. This affected me in every aspect of my life. It was hard for me to get up early. Now I get up early every day at 3:45 a.m. for the most part. Ironically, Today and last week was the first time in a long while, was the first time I missed the morning gym session. Hey, and I'll tell you what, if you're in a cycle where you keep fucking up and you can't get up early, I guarantee you most of that comes from the fact that when you wake up, you start telling yourself, see, you didn't fucking wake up again. You start shaming yourself. All that guilt, all that negative self talk reinforces who you are on an identity level. A man who betrays himself. So if you want to upgrade who you are, you have to rewrite who you are. I stopped seeing myself as a man who betrayed himself. I started to actually acknowledge that, holy shit, I actually am consistent. I consistently show up to work. I consistently show up like as a man should. I consistently go to the gym. I consistently keep my word. And when I started to view myself like this and reframe myself, I stopped shaming myself and guilt tripping myself when I wasn't perfect. Because all perfectionism is a fear of being seen, a fear of being seen as too little, as not enough. You're not doing enough. And serendipity, once I fucking stop shaming myself and talking shit, all of a sudden, get up early every day. I love it. It's become so much better. All of a sudden, like, man, I love the morning time. Fuck, man, I don't know how I used to ever do it. And now people ask me, how the fuck you get up early? I don't know. I just do it. I love it. I love it. However you talk to yourself affects your entire reality. Any guilt, any trauma, any shame that you carry, you have to overcome it and you have to make peace with it. And a lot of times, y'all, we create our own self sabotage cycles. You don't need more discipline. You don't need more motivation. You don't even need to be more consistent. You need to be honest with yourself about who you are. And if you're not happy with who you are, you have to be honest with yourself and lead yourself to the man you want to be.